So I had felt so horrible the other day. Um, and I was so confused because I was doing the Daniel fast, which is only fruits and vegetables. And I was eating only like potatoes, bananas, beans, um, and that's kind of pretty much it. Water. And I was so confused. I'm like, how do you get sick off of this stuff? Usually, it'll consist of dairy, meat, something like you'll get sick off of spoiled cheese or something like that. But these were all I was preparing on myself. I'm like, how am I getting sick off of this? So it was like the second day. And the thing too is that I had did a Daniel fast prior and I was okay. Only thing is that I couldn't reach the third day because I had such a struggle, like just wanting to eat what I usually eat. And I said, it's okay. And I gave in and I didn't make it to the third day. I could not make that third day. So I had spoke to a minister at church, because it was the time. And I said, okay, I'm gonna bring up to her that I was getting attacks, and it was like a push and kind of a fight again to go and tell her and bring it to I said, okay, at least I'm gonna bring it to the light. And so I know even then from that conversation, she was like, she wanted to lay hands, but she said, I'm not going to. And in her head, I immediately was like, maybe God is gonna do this. Then maybe God told her like he's gonna do this one. Um, and and of course she mentioned like a lot of this goes back to childhood, and I knew specifically in my childhood, I was used to always love to watch horror movies. Like I was really into it for a while. I specifically knew that, she mentioned that, and of course she brought up only some spirits come out through prayer and fasting. And I knew, like, I need to be going on a fast soon. I haven't been on a fast in a while. I was like, yeah, and I just kept pushing it off week after week. And I knew this specific week, it felt like God wanted me to go on a 7-day fast, like complete. And I was fighting it, like, saying like he pushed it, like, go do this. You gonna do this week. So I was like, I woke up early. I said, come on, I'm gonna do it. I'm just start. But like I say about that second day, I was like, I had a stomach ache, and I was like, what? I said, okay, maybe this got to be spiritual, because I was just like, how are we getting sick off of fruits and vegetables? And I had also was hearing testimonies about people who complete their fast, they would vomit up the spirits, So like I say, I started getting sick around the second day. Remember, this is the day that I could not. This is the day I could not make it to the third day. It was a fight prior on the Daniel fast for that third day, and so I felt like that on my second day. And I would start praying to God. I was like, God, like I don't know what's going on. I knew that I felt like you want me to do 7 days. So a little bit after that, I just felt like the strength. Like maybe he gave me the strength. I said, oh yeah, I could still do this fast. Made me something to drink. Okay, I make my food for work. And so it's like the pain was still there, but it's like it went down. And so the next day, that third day and fourth, I got past that, and like I said, I was feeling horrible the other day. So much like I thought that I was like, in my head I was like, I had called my sister. I'm like, y'all just gonna have to get the kids, and I couldn't even drive. I was so weak again. I'm like, y'all like can y'all just get the kids and drive me to the hospital, drive me off there? Like, and in my head, I said, man, maybe they have to do immediate care. And I was afraid because I said, man, I'm laying here. I don't want to be running out of time and stuff like that. That's how bad I was feeling. And I don't want to say this to, discourage people that you shouldn't get deliverance if this is like, or to put fear, because deliverance is also freedom and everything, but I want to just put it out there how deep sin is, and just not guarding your ear and your eye gates can go into bring spirits inside of you, and they just lay dormant for years and years and years and things like that. And that's what the Lord tell us. It's only some spirits come out through prayer and fasting. So I cannot 100% say if this was spiritual or a natural body reaction. I may get confirmation later. I'm not sure. But this was so intense. Like I said, I was feeling, as soon as it started happening, I felt so weak. Like you could see it in my eyes. I had went to my mom and said, "Ma, don't you see like my eyes is all low?" Oh, so yeah. So that night, I called my sister, and I'm usually like, I feel like God made me pretty strong. I'm like hanging in there, and I don't want to go to the hospital because I don't want to have to be there for a long time and inconvenience everybody else. So I'm hanging on, laying down. And so by this time, yeah, I could say, I couldn't even eat. I was so weak. I had my phone. I had to, just put it on speaker and just lay there and talk. And I was literally like, I might need to go to the hospital. Like that. And like I said, it's just like it was out of nowhere. And I couldn't understand. I'm like, I'm doing a fast. If anything, what I did expect it might be my body would have reaction. I said, man, this is probably really going to put my digestive, I probably be really, like more digestion and things of that. But this was terrible. So I was, so like I said, I was laying there. It was always in my stomach. And I was laying there, and the pain was like, I'm gonna put my clothes. It was like right there. And the day before that, when it started, it was like contractions. Like, this would be your reaction. Like, it was like that reaction, like a contraction. It's slow and it goes like, ouch. You be like that while I was at work. And then, like I said, it went down because I'm like, God, I don't know if I'm supposed to stop the fast, but I feel like you wanted me to do 7 days. So that, yeah, I could say, so this was that night, and I was like, oh my gosh, and so, like I say, by that time, it was just like one area right there. And, so I'm like, oh, I'm in a terrible pain. Maybe a 9-10, and I went and threw up. And so I laid back down. The pain was still there. So I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm about to go to the hospital. Couple more minutes, threw up. And the pain still right in the same area. Like, just like one spot. And it's like the one spot, and it's just one place. And then, psh. So the third time I threw up, it's like it was just like foamy. And I just like, I don't know if that makes a difference or however, but I don't never really remember throwing up like that. A lot of times I throw the food up and it'll hang a little bit, but it's like the third time it was just just not to be graphic, but it was just, you know, and soon as that, it was like gone. The pain was like gone. The only thing I did feel is I felt kind of sore in the abdomen, in the same area right around. My kids was not sick. My co-workers was not sick. Anybody that I've not seen is not sick. And so like it was really something. But like I say, I was thinking like if these are the prices that you go through and you kind of pay for sin and wanting to just open doors or say, oh, it's a little bit of this, it's just a little bit of that, it is not worth it. And that's like God. I just see is like what God's words and He instruct us to do is make so much sense. Like it's like He just want just live His way, live His way, and you'll be okay. Live His way. That is the way, because Lord has it for us to live this certain way, but we go around and we like, oh, I can just do this. I can just do that. I can do a little bit of this. It won't hurt to, and that's where we open doors of sin, darkness, and it's like you just find yourself having to go all the way around, go through all so much stuff because we're doing things in our own way or curiosity and opening up these doors. Just because you can't see that they're opening, they do open. And it's like it'd be hard to close, and you have to go through so much to close them. So much prayer, so much deliverance, so much. And like, take it from me. Like I said, I can't confirm exactly, but I do feel like it was something spiritual, because I can say, looking back on my life, there's a lot of things that I just did for years. Even, like I say, sexual sins, those, yeah, it's just things that need to be broken off. And I knew that, I fasted before, but I hadn't fasted in years ago. And I kept trying to get around to it because fasting is a part of it's a part of your lifestyle, you know, um, as a Christian. And but it is really it it really goes in depth. And it's like I say, it's just so not worth the things that we go into sin and we compromise our destiny, our eternity, all of this for sin. It's like it's so not worth. It's so not worth. It's like we have to listen to the Lord, listen to what He already told us, and we'll have it a lot kind of like easier. So it's sin. It's not worth, or it's not worth it. It's not worth